Hello, CNG 132. This is our Wednesday check-in. Um, I've gotten a few emails, so let me address those first. One about an ISO, um, and let me try to get everything up and running on other screens. Um, FRCC, or I should say front range on the hub. Front Range Community College. Okay, so I just did a quick Google search. Oops, that's gonna be way too big. Um, so you should get emails in your eWolf emails with access to on the hub. On the hub is basically a place where you can get your Windows 10 ISOs. I would sign in. I I used to have access in my student, or I did have like a student. Well, I do have a student account. I'm not technically a student anymore, but I still have a student account nonetheless. I'm able to sign in. Your um, your link will be in your eWolf email, in your student email. You'll have to set it up first, and then you're able to get this software. And as you see, Windows 10 is that Windows 10 ISO that you guys will need to download. This is yours. This is your copy. So make sure you get this. I did get an email from a student that did it in the spring. As far as I know, these should just start to renew and refresh. Um, IT in Westminster handles all these, so I'll have to call down there and ask exactly if those are being renewed. But if you did VMware, I believe VMware is a make sure you get Workstation 15. Workstation Player is the basic version, which you can also get and is just fine. Um, it doesn't have all the controls that Workstation does, but sometimes it's a little easier with if you get like a virtual machine ISO. And when I say ISO, I have many ISOs. ISO. And here's what I did. I just got all my ISOs: Windows 10, Windows Professional, Windows 8. I mean, you can see all these ISOs that I've collected over the time, and but then I also made a document that has my product keys as a PNG file or as a snip. So I always have this, and if you look at this, I'm actually on OneDrive in the cloud, somebody else's server. And this makes it easy for me to store all these ISOs because they're not taking up local disk space. They're somewhere else. Someone's managing that. So back to this. Uh, Player, the dumbed down version, the basic version. Workstation, the full blown version. I recommend Workstation 15. And then if you go over here, VMware Fusion 11. So if you have a Mac, I usually have a few Mac users every semester. If you have a Mac, you want to get this one because this one's specifically designed for Mac uses. So once again, Windows user, please choose Workstation 15. Mac users, please choose this. And um, I would just say if you want to experiment with Player, get that one. Once again, Player. If I receive a virtual machine that's not working, I usually load it into Player, get it up and running, and then resave it, and then I load it into Workstation, and it works just fine. Uh, with the Windows 10 ISO, go back over here this direction, click Windows 10, click. Okay, there we go. Add to cart, and I believe I already have this downloaded, so it shouldn't let me add it to cart again. Yeah, so I already ordered this project. This write the key down, or I should say write the key down, snip the key, store it somewhere safe. Once again, like online or in the cloud, whether it's OneDrive, Google Cloud. In eWolf, you actually also, if you click your student email in eWolf, you should also see that you have a student OneDrive account also. So feel free to save there also. As you are on the hub, let me pull that up on another screen. Um, or maybe it all went back to this because I didn't see the. I'm gonna have to search into this. Azure Dev Tools for Teaching. Oops, Azure Dev Tools for Teaching. Um, have to look into this because it looks like it changed again. But if you have an Azure DevTools account, which will look somewhat like this, oops, once again, I'm on a widescreen. I have two widescreens, so I do try to format everything for you guys. Sign in, Lemos, frontrange.edu. And this is going to be a long video, you guys. I do thank you for keeping keeping patience. I thought that was it. So something might have changed. Anyways, Google FRCC or Front Range Community College on the hub, and it should come up with this. Once again, I'll call those people as soon as this video is done to make sure that you guys have access to these. I'll also share my Windows 10 ISO. Even if you get Workstation Player, the free one, it's online for free, and you can do the assignments and it'll still work. Fusion for Mac users, I don't think there's a free copy, but just put. I know a few of you have Macs, and we already mentioned it, but just put those in the lab file. Say, hey, look, I got a Mac, don't have access to this yet, but I plan on doing it, and we'll get it. I'll get that addressed. Let me see what else is there. VMware. Oh, what do you have to do? That's another question that was brought up in an email. So you're only responsible for the items in assignments. So we're in week 2. Sorry for clicking back on week 1. We're in week 2. If you go to week 2 assignments, you're only responsible for these ones. Even in the book, it says this item's required. I don't know why it's listed like that in the book, but you're really only required to do the ones that I'm grading in D2L. So just please do those. In the book, it says it's a graded item, and I want to say if we go to this one, and we go cryptography, and if we look at, is it think critically? Yeah, see, counts towards your grades. It doesn't count towards your grades, you guys, because it's not in the assignments. So just click on what I have for your assignments listed. Please do those. I was going through and saw that labs are not listed, so I'm going to disperse the lab contents to your projects. So you're going to see projects go up in value to 40%, and the labs will go down. But when you guys hop into the virtual machine labs, feel free to do those. They're a lot tougher just because you are working in a virtual environment and you're doing things that may require just a little bit more exposure to. Okay, I didn't know I was already doing one. But you work in this environment and it's very, very good hands-on practice of when you're looking at your assessment, you're encrypting and hashing, and it's just an introduction. So it works with your SYO 501 and explains to you what encryption is with hashing. So it goes along with the chapter very well, and you walk, and I'd give yourself like at least an hour to do each one of these. But as you walk through these, don't take your time. It's not a race. Follow the directions, and then keep track of where you are. And you can kind of see my practice labs, LAB, DC, domain controller 01 is kind of turning on. So I know that that's taken a little bit while to do. And if you read these connecting, you'll see that there is sometimes an order to power on your machine. So make sure you read these very, very slow and take your time. But these are really, really valuable, but it depends on your internet connection on how well they work, because you are working on somebody else's environment. I have seen these go really good for myself, and I've seen them go really, really slow for myself, depending on where I'm at. But as you see here, we get a server type environment where we start to work through this lab here. And I can't tell you just how valuable these are. I wish I still had them in there, but once again, depending on your connection, is really either you have a good experience or a bad experience. So that's why I kind of pull these out. But feel free to hop in there and do these. Once again, the more you prepare yourself for leaving Front Range, the better off you're going to be if you have some exposure to this. You're going to be like, oh yeah, I know a little bit about hashing and setting up encryption because I did that in a lab one time. I kind of have an idea of how it works. So when you get out there, you're not just blind. You're like, oh, I kind of remember this from this one lab. Back to the class. I will link my ISO drive. You guys are more than welcome um, to use any ISOs out of there. And let me get a link for it. Uh, Realize that you have to do your own keys. But once again, once you get access to on the hub, just use your own stuff. Because some of my virtual machines and some of my ISOs are very, very out of date, which requires some updates to do. Right click, share. Anyone with the link can edit. Oops, I don't want to do edit. Allow editing. I'll figure that out. I just want to share it, not allow editing. Um, but feel free to use all those or just ones you want. I have many different ISOs in there, so I will double check on your access with your Windows ISO, your VMware. Make sure to only do the assignments once again that are listed in D2L, and then if you need an ISO, I'll put that file link up in the front so you guys have access. Have a great start to this week. Remember to get assignments in from last week, and if you got a 0 or didn't get a 10 on any sort of assignment, jump back to that assignment, do it. Because I want you guys to succeed, and I want you guys to have every chance to succeed once again. Thanks. Have a good week. Bye.